Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Great Scott! There's no crying in baseball!
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
This is where the fun begins.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's right, we're ranking Last Breath. Last Breath is a 2025 survival thriller film. Based on true events, a group of seasoned saturation divers battle the elements to rescue a crewmate trapped hundreds of feet below the ocean's surface. This was a movie that I didn't love and didn't hate, it just kind of exists. Let's get into it, we'll talk about the 10 essential aspects of a movie. First is plot. Does the movie follow a comprehensive story arc and is plausible within the world that has been created? Now, the fact that this movie is based on a true story is what really carries this film. If you did not know that, I honestly think it would be kind of a boring story. There's just not enough going on because I don't think there was enough that happened in the real story to warrant being an entire movie. It's not a terrible movie. It's not. I've seen way worse movies, but the fact that there's already a documentary about it, I don't know that this really needed to be made at all. I don't know if this story is interesting and compelling enough to fill out a 90-minute movie and be super interesting. If you're interested in the story, if you think it's a cool story, just go watch the documentary. I don't think you really need to watch this movie. I don't think this movie brought something extra to the table. Maybe just eyeballs, maybe just releasing it in the theaters gets more people to see the story, maybe go watch the documentary, just brings more attention to it. That's kind of it. I don't know if it really needed to be an entire movie. That being said, I can appreciate that in the movie they don't add all of this. It doesn't feel like they add a ton of extra stuff that feels like, okay, I don't know if that actually happened. Everything feels grounded in this movie. They don't go over the top to try and make it more entertaining. Everything that occurs in the movie feels like it occurred in real life. They don't go over the top. And that I can appreciate, but honestly, the story barely had enough content to fill out 90 minutes. The only reason it was entertaining throughout the whole thing enough was the fact that you knew it was a true story and that you could kind of put yourself in their shoes somewhat by watching the movie and be like, wow, that is a crazy situation. I don't know what I would do in that situation. I can't believe people actually went through that. That thought is what kind of keeps a movie entertaining, but the story itself, I don't know if it needed to be a whole movie. Second is attraction. Does the movie have an interesting premise with a high entertainment value? It's got a good entertainment value. I don't know if it is high. People who enjoy watching true stories, you're going to enjoy this movie. It is a good true story. It is nice that it is grounded. It really feels like when you watch this movie, you're not watching a story that is different than what really happened. It feels like this is exactly what happened, or pretty dang close. So if you enjoy that, then you're going to enjoy this movie. I think the casual moviegoer will enjoy this movie as well. I think it's a movie that you can sit down if it gets thrown on and watch and be like, wow, that was pretty interesting, but I don't know if it has enough entertainment value to bring you back. Third is theme. What message or truth is a movie trying to convey? Just like pretty much every true story, this is a story about human resilience, about determination. Is some lesson about teamwork in this movie. It's pretty much the typical true story lessons, and they're good lessons. They're what make true stories really interesting. The lessons being learned here, I feel like in true stories hit a little harder because you know that these are people who actually went through these situations. It's not just a character that you think, oh, people could do that. No, people actually did these things. I think it's a really interesting message, and that's why these stories are so popular. Fourth is dialogue. Is there a real feel to the conversation? Now, this is where the movie is not great. It's not bad, but it's definitely not great. It's just okay. This movie has a lot of what I would call TV show dialogue, and if you don't understand what I'm saying, there's a huge difference between really great TV shows and your average TV show dialogue. If you watch an episode of a show like Breaking Bad and then you watch an episode of Law and Order, the dialogue there is very different. You can feel it. Breaking Bad, really great dialogue, quality dialogue. It makes the characters feel real because the conversations that they're having are conversations that you feel like you could have in your own life. They're authentic. They feel real. They flow well. And then you have shows like 911, like Law and Order, that have a million episodes and they're just not quality. Those conversations don't feel real. They feel very comic-y. That's how this movie is. It's hard to get into the movie. It's weird because it is a true story. You know that these characters were real people, but watching them, they don't feel like real people. The conversations they have, you don't believe that these people have known each other for years, that they honestly even like each other. They feel like actors saying lines, and the dialogue's not bad. It's not that the conversations could not happen. They just don't flow very well. They don't feel very real. It's hard to really feel for the characters, to want to pull for the characters when you're not that pulled into the movie. You're not that convinced that what's happening is really happening to these characters at all. When you're in the presence that you know you're watching a movie, it's hard to elevate the movie and feel any sort of emotion that they're trying to get you to feel. Fifth is acting. Are the characters convincing? Now, unfortunately, acting and dialogue go hand in hand. So when one of them's not good, it's really hard for the other one to be good. Now, I think the acting is held down by dialogue in this movie. I think there are some good actors in this movie. I think there was periods where there wasn't dialogue that I could see that the actors were good. They could show emotion without needing lines, and they could show a seriousness. There was some good acting done, but nothing noteworthy because the dialogue really bogged it down. That being said, there is also not good acting in this movie. There's TV show acting in this movie as well. There are characters that feel like, yeah, you shouldn't really ever be in a movie. You should just stick to TV shows that aren't quite so serious. Kind of a mix of acting in this movie, but there's nothing to point out. 6 is cinematography. Is there a creative use of lighting, setting, and wardrobe to convey emotion? This is where the movie really shines for me. I thought they did a good job with the cinematography. All of the diving, obviously the center of this movie, what it is all about, everything that happens underwater and has to do with the diving is handled really well. It's very convincing. It looks really good. Something I want to give them credit for. I cannot stand when movies based on true stories that have video of the true story don't put the video into the movie in some sort of way. That is what is interesting. I am watching this mainly, most of the audience is going to like this movie because it is a true story. That is what's compelling about it. So please integrate the true story with the movie that you are making. They did that in this movie. I thought they did it very seamlessly. They had video footage from underwater, essentially like an underwater drone that they put into the movie as what they were looking at. It's actually put in so well that I was questioning whether that was a real footage or not. I was like, that looks like it could be, and that's a perfect opportunity. I hope that is, and I looked it up, and it was the real footage. I really enjoy that. I like that. That is what, to me, that elevates your true story. That's what you need to do if you're going to be telling a true story, is help weave in the actual story, especially if there is video evidence that just makes the most sense and it makes it the most entertaining. Now, weirdly enough, the best shot in this movie, the one I really enjoyed the most, had nothing in it. Right after his cable is snapped and he is alone at the bottom of the ocean, they cut back to him and the screen is completely black. And you can hear the sounds, but you can't see anything. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was an excellent choice by the director because it really helps put the fear of what that person was going through into the audience, because that is terrifying to think about, being several hundred feet underwater at the bottom. You can't see nothing, just pitch black, and you know that you only have minutes of oxygen. You don't know what to do. You know you have to get back to a certain place, but you can't see a thing. I thought that was awesome. It is the best part of the movie. It is the part of the movie that really drew me in and went, wow, okay, this is actually a terrifying story, and to have to go through that is actually crazy. I thought that was a really good use of cinematography there, even though technically you didn't do anything. You just had a black screen. It was a good choice. Now, emotionally, there's not much emotion to be had, and I think that is because of the dialogue. It's just not very convincing, hard to really pull you in. The only emotion you have is because you know it's a true story. If you can put yourself into their shoes in some sort of way, you will feel some sort of emotion. That's what true stories do best. That's what this movie did well is help put you in that situation, but the dialogue holds it back. The acting somewhat holds it back. There's some choices that are really weird that hold this movie back, so there's not much emotion going on here other than what you can put into it because you put yourself into the movie. 7th is editing. This is all about the pace of the movie. The movie is an hour and 33 minutes long. Now, with the dialogue that this movie had, that is a good length. They wrapped it up in a nice, concise story. It didn't have enough depth in the story that was being told to really fill out something like a 2-hour movie. So that was a really good choice based on the dialogue that they had. But if they had some better writing and some good dialogue, I think this movie easily could have been an hour 45 minutes long or even longer, because the beginning of this movie, they barely give you any introduction to these characters. Now with bad dialogue, I'm happy with that because I don't want to hear bad dialogue. It doesn't help me convince the characters at all. But if there was good dialogue and they put more in the beginning of this movie, it could have been a really good movie. I thought it could have been a surprisingly well done movie, but the dialogue holds it back, and because of that, I'm glad they kept it to an hour 33. 8th is soundtrack. There's nothing special here. It's dramatic when there's dramatic things happening, but it's nothing that I need to point out. 9th is directing. Now I feel the director is in charge of the previous 8 aspects. They're the ones that have to put it all together, give it their stamp of approval, and make a good movie. Now, the director of this movie is Alex Parkinson, and this is his only movie that he's directed as far as a movie goes. He's directed a lot of documentaries. He's actually the director of the documentary for this exact story. So I don't know that he's ever actually going to make another movie. It seems like he's purely about directing documentaries, and I thought he did his job on this movie. The story kind of speaks for itself, but he did make some good decisions. I don't think he ruined the movie. He didn't make any decisions that made it worse. The story is interesting enough, but he didn't do a ton to really elevate it. I thought he handled the underwater well. I thought he handled the situation well. He obviously knew a lot about it, and he handled that well, but he didn't do anything to me to really elevate this movie, to make it memorable. I don't know if he's ever going to make another movie, so he did his job with this movie. 10th is time. Will it stand the test of time? No, it's a decent story. I think if you are interested in this part of life, it's a really odd job. I don't know that many people even know it exists. So I don't think it's going to stick around as a popular movie. There's also much better true story movies that just take the true story and then elevate it. This one, it's just interesting because it's a true story, but I think ultimately it will very easily be forgotten. Now for the review section. Rotten Tomatoes critics gives it an 80. The audience gives it a 92. And IMDb gives it a 66. 92 is way too high. You can appreciate that it's a true story. I think that's interesting, but that doesn't make it a good movie. It's not a great movie. 92 is crazy. It is not that good of a movie. Even compared all time, I don't think it deserves to be an A kind of movie. It's lacking some things to be that high. I'm closest to 66, but I'm not that low. To me, it is in the 70s. It's just a decent movie. It doesn't do anything horrible. It doesn't do anything great. It just kind of exists. The story is good enough to push it along, but there's nothing to stand out here, good or bad. Finally, for the ranking for the year of 2025, out of 9 total movies on the entertainment side, it is going to be 5th, just below One of Them Days and above Captain America: Brave New World. Now, I have it above Captain America. This is really just because it's a smoother product. Captain America had several aspects that honestly irritated me, that made me not want to finish the movie because their quality was just so low. Last Breath does not have that. It's just kind of a mediocre film. It does a lot of things okay. It doesn't make me as angry, and I feel like I'm just going to prefer to watch a movie that doesn't make me as angry. Now, I do have it below One of Them Days. One of Them Days is just an entertainment movie made for entertainment, and it does it well. It just does it better than Last Breath. That's what it was made to do, and it just does it. Now, cinematically, out of 9 total movies, I have it 4th, just below One of Them Days and above The Damned. Now I have it above The Damned. Really, again, this is just because it is a smoother package. The Damned had things that I liked about it more than Last Breath, but it had more things that I disliked. The last half of that movie really falls apart. It really falls into a stereotypical horror movie. It stops being as unique, and it takes weird avenues with the plot that I just did not enjoy. Just more things to complain about than a movie like Last Breath, which I feel like it's just better to have a movie that has less to complain about as far as representing a movie as an art form. I do have it below One of Them Days. One of Them Days, though it's made for entertainment, it's just done really well. It's a really quality entertainment made movie, and they do have some sort of attempt at emotion. It's not that great. It's not that deep. I'm sure some people might have felt some emotion if you are the audience that movie is going for. But overall, it's just a better package because it had a purpose and it did it well, where Last Breath had a purpose and it just did it okay. Now for the decade of the 2020s, out of 45 total movies on the entertainment side, it is going to be 32nd, just below Birds of Prey and above Captain America. I have it above Captain America for the exact same reasons as before. And I do have it below Birds of Prey. This is really for that Harley Quinn character. I think Harley Quinn is a very interesting character as far as entertainment goes. She's very entertaining, but really Margot Robbie is what makes her so entertaining. And she's in that movie, the entire movie, she's the focus of the movie, and because of that, I just find her more entertaining. It also is very colorful and interesting and fun to look at. It has a fun, goofy story with it, but I just think it has more to pull you back to want to watch that movie again than a movie like Last Breath, where I could watch it once and honestly never watch it again and be just fine. There's nothing pulling me back to want to watch this movie again. Now, cinematically, out of 45 total movies, I have it 31st, just below Birds of Prey again, and above The Damned. Now, it's above The Damned for the exact same reasons as before. It is below Birds of Prey. Last Breath, unfortunately, kind of limited by the fact that it is a true story. And I give it credit for staying grounded, but because they're so grounded, the story needs to be extremely interesting. And though the story is interesting, there's not enough about it to make it extremely interesting. So for that, it just kind of lacks a creativity that it's just limited for its creativity, and Birds of Prey is not. I thought it was very creative. I think it's very colorful. Outfits are interesting. Characters are interesting. The way the story is being told, because it's from the perspective of Harley Quinn, that makes it interesting. I just think it has a lot of creative aspects to it that I can give it credit for that I can't really give to Last Breath because it's just a bland, true story to be told. All time, out of 59 total movies on the entertainment side, it is going to be 45th, just below Birds of Prey and above Captain America. It's there for the exact same reasons as before. Cinematically, out of 59 total movies, it is going to be 43rd, just below Christine and above The Damned. It's above The Damned for the exact same reasons as before, but I do have it below Christine. I just kind of give Christine a little bit of a uniqueness advantage here. Again, kind of limited by the fact that it's a true story. Doesn't have a whole lot of unique aspects to it. Christine, I love pointing out, I thought they handled the car really well. When it repairs itself, the way they make it seem like it's alive, they do a good job, especially for the time. They do a good job of making it feel real, of looking really well. It's really well done. It looks really nice, but they also have some character development there that is lacking in Last Breath. There's not a whole lot of character development. Christine has a character that goes through some significant changes. I just think it represents film a little better because it's a little more unique. It does some things really well and not a whole lot of things that I hate, where Last Breath, it just doesn't have a whole lot to point out, period. Okay, that's all I have for Last Breath. This is like my 8th take. I am tired of explaining why this movie is where it is. If you have seen this movie, please let me know your opinion. What did you think of it? It was honestly kind of a hard movie to rank because it just didn't have a whole lot for me to point out, good or bad. And that's kind of hard to rank against movies that have both things I can point out that are good and bad, but I have to choose one that is seemingly better. Ends up getting harder than you really think. But if you've watched it, please let me know your opinion, whether you think I've underrated or overrated this movie or put it just right. Is it the Goldilocks movie? Am I the Goldilocks reviewer? Am I putting it exactly where it needs to be? Just any sort of comment and interaction, I love to have it. It's the whole point. It's the whole reason I made this channel is I wanted to interact with people who also love movies and get their opinion on my opinion. If you're interested in someone who does the exact same format as me, then you go check out my best friend Bosso Movie Reviews. Does the same thing with movies, but now he's doing TV shows as well, which I will not do. So go check him out if you're interested in that. He also does One List. I think that's a little more streamlined, might be a little more appealing to people rather than the two different lists. But otherwise, make sure you comment a movie. I swear I will get to it eventually. It might take some time, but I will get to that movie and I will review it and rank it. At the very least, it will be on a bigger list and you'll get a little bit more in-depth and interesting review. But make sure you subscribe so that you can watch when I do review your movie. But otherwise, I'm Mr. Majoritarian. Stay classy, San Diego.